my goodness, I'm so nervous. Okay, I can kind of see the butter underneath the dough, and I really hope that nothing is going wrong here. Okay, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. These are more like taquitos that you get at 7-Eleven rather than Cocktail Shock. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna, and in today's video I wanted to challenge myself. I am attempting to make Claire Saffitz's viral 24-hour croissant. I'm going to attempt to make it vegan, at home, from scratch, with no equipment. I am so looking forward to this because I love Claire Saffitz. I love her recipes. Today I wanted to make her 24-hour croissant, so this is going to be quite an undertaking. Since I have some time this holiday season, I decided why not. And I'm going to make them vegan, so I'm not sure if it's going to work out. I have hope that it will. I really think that it will. If you guys don't know, I'm a baker. I work in the hospitality industry at a bakery, and I've made croissant before. When I was living in Toronto, I worked at a gluten-free bakery and I made gluten-free vegan croissant. So I feel like if I can make gluten-free croissant, I can make normal croissant. We're just gonna follow the recipe. It's gonna take about 2 days, and I really hope that it's gonna turn out, and I hope you guys will follow me along the journey and watch until the end of the video. Before we get started, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe for more videos like this. I plan to be doing more baking videos, lifestyle, travel, everything all along that realm. And of course, hit that bell icon to get notified every time I post a video so you won't miss anything. Alright, so let's get into it. I have my laptop here with the recipe on New York Times Cooking, and I also have Claire's YouTube video of step-by-step how she made it. So in the recipe, she uses milk, eggs, and butter. She says to use a European style butter, but the best vegan butter that I found in the UK is this Flora plant-based butter. And in the recipe, it says to use unsalted butter, but the only one they have in blocks is salted. So I'm just going to omit some of the salt from the recipe, and I'm hoping it will turn out. So without further ado, let's get straight into this recipe. To measure the ingredients, I'm going to use a scale because that's the most efficient and best way to measure dry ingredients, or all ingredients. First, we're going to get 4 2/3 cups or 605 grams of all-purpose or bread flour. In the video, she says bread flour is the best, so I got this one. 66 grams granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon plus a half teaspoon of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. So what you can actually do if you don't know if your yeast is active anymore, like if you've had it for a long time. I think I've had this yeast for over a year and I didn't know if it was still alive. You can actually put it in a cup of warm water and sugar, and if it bubbles up like this, then that means it's alive. So my yeast is perfectly alive. So it says to whisk this all together and create a well in the center, and then we're gonna add in the milk. I've whisked all the dry ingredients together. I've made a well, and it says to put in 214 grams of water and 120 grams of whole milk, but I'm using oat milk instead. This oat milk, and they both have to be at room temperature, not hot, not cold. So let's put that in. It says mix on low speed until a tight, smooth dough comes together around the hook, about 5 minutes. Let's put that on to mix. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. This is what it looks like. Claire says it's not supposed to have any really elasticity to it. You can kind of see it's a bit clumpy. So we're gonna take the dough hook out and cover it for 10 minutes with a damp towel and just leave it to rest. Super sticky. So this is what it looks like now. Not very smooth at all. So we're gonna cover it, leave it for 10 minutes. Okay, so as a baker, I like to multitask. I don't like waiting for one task to finish to start the next one. So let's start the butter block. We need 340 grams unsalted European or European style butter, which is 3 sticks. So I'm gonna use this Flora butter, and I'm hoping that it will work. This is 250 grams each, so I'm gonna measure out 340 grams, and we're gonna put it into a parchment sheet, and we're basically gonna roll it into the shape of an 8-inch square. 338. Okay, close enough. So what I'm gonna do is cut this butter into sticks to make it a little bit more pliable and easier to roll out into the square. Okay, so let's get our handy dandy measuring tape. And it is very important to use a ruler or a measuring tape because you want to get it the exact width and length so that when you put it into the croissant, you can fold the dough over and you'll get even layers of nice buttery, flaky goodness. I'm saying this like I've done it before, and I have in school, but I've used normal butter and normal milk, so it could be a bit different. Anyway, now we have our outline. Let's just slap the butter in there. Let's make our butter package. This is about 8 inches. I am going to kind of smack the butter, smack it into action. So you kind of want to smack it a little bit just so that you kind of spread it to the edges of the packet. And then once it becomes more pliable, you can roll it out. If you roll out the butter when it's too hard or too cold, you risk tearing this parchment sheet, which you wouldn't really want to do because you don't want to get butter on your rolling pin. Okay, so once you've kind of got it flattened out, you want to gently push it towards the corners of the parchment sheet. See how I'm doing here and how it's slowly going to the edges. We want to fill up this entire square. Okay, I think we have it. So here we have our butter square. It's not completely even. As you see, it's a bit curved, but it's okay. It's about 8 inches all together. It is smooth and you see how it's even? That's very important for it to be even all around. So this butter block is gonna go in the fridge overnight until we roll out the dough and incorporate the butter. So in the fridge it goes. This dough has been resting for 10 minutes now, so we're going to put it back in the mixer and we're gonna add the butter. So this is a 1/4 cup or 57 grams of butter cubed. I just used the same Flora butter. And it is cold. Chilled? Yes, it says chilled. So just putting that straight in there, and we're gonna reattach it with the dough hook. We're gonna mix it for about 8 to 10 minutes until the dough just gets really smooth, and we're gonna make sure that it passes the window pane test, which I will show you. I think it might be done. It's been about 8 minutes now. So in doughs like this, you want to make sure that it is not sticking to the bowl. It is sticking a little bit, but that could be all right. One thing I learned in school, which is kind of useful, is called the window pane test. So you take a little bit of the dough like this and you stretch it between your fingers, and you stretch it quite a lot. And if the dough can stretch without breaking, and you see light through it, then that means it's ready. It is breaking a little bit, so I don't think it's ready. I think it needs a few more minutes, and then it won't stick as much. So let's give it a few more minutes, and then we'll do the window pane test again. Let's test it again. I just realized that Claire didn't do this in her video. She didn't do the window pane test, but the dough looks very similar to hers. So let's just see. There we go. You can kind of see through it. You can see the light. Perfect. The dough is ready. So we're just gonna take it out of the bowl. You can see that it's absorbed all of the butter. It's really stretchy and light. We're just gonna form it into a ball. A nice smooth ball. So I've never seen anyone do this before, but what Claire does in her video is she gives it a cut. So she cuts it like this, I believe.
Basically reoriented
just like that.
into a rectangle, which is the shape
I see. You cut this so that the gluten will expand in a rectangle, and when you're ready to roll it, we'll have an easier time of rolling it into a rectangle and incorporating that butter block. So what we're gonna do is put it back into this mixing bowl and leave it at room temperature for about 45 minutes to an hour, or until it just about doubles in size, or 1.5 times in size. And then we're gonna put it in the fridge and chill it overnight. So it's gonna get much bigger than that. So we'll just leave it and we'll come back in an hour. Okay, so it's been over an hour now. This is what the dough looks like. I'm not entirely sure if it's risen 1.5 times its size, but it looks like it rose, and it's been over an hour. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge to chill overnight. It says 4 to 12 hours. Right now it's 10 p.m. I will probably wake up around 6 or 7 a.m. just to get this dough started. I'm excited for what the next day is gonna bring. I thought that these croissants would be ready by tomorrow. Like, I thought we would be shaping them and baking them by the end of the day tomorrow, but it's gonna be the day after that. So it's gonna be Saturday morning when the croissants are ready. I mean, Saturday morning, croissant and coffee for breakfast will be absolutely delicious. Today's Thursday, I thought they'd be ready tomorrow, but I was delulu, wasn't I? They take a lot longer, but you know, let's trust the process. I hope they'll be worth it. Let's go. These are going in the fridge overnight, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. So it's 8 a.m. the next day, and it's been 10 hours. This is what the dough looks like. It honestly doesn't look like it's doubled in size or risen very much, but I'm really hoping that it has. It smells very yeasty. I wonder if maybe the vegan ingredients or the yeast has something to do with it. But anyways, we are going to do a pre-shape. So you see where the 4 corners are. We're just going to take it out of the bowl. It's literally stuck to the bowl. There we go. We're going to wrap it in plastic wrap and roll it out just a little bit, but making sure that it doesn't go past 8 inches. 8 inches is there, 8 inches is there. And we're going to kind of pre-roll it into the square rectangle shape that we want. So I'm just gonna quickly roll this out, and then we're gonna get it into the freezer. That's that. We're gonna put it in the freezer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes later.
We've got the dough in the butter, and the reason for putting the dough in the freezer for 10 minutes was just to get it a lot colder than the butter, because we want the dough to be colder than the butter. Temperature is everything. We want the butter, I think, to be a little bit more room temperature. So I'm gonna leave it for a little bit because we want the butter to bend but not snap, and right now the butter is really hard. So I might just leave that for now. As we're going, I'm watching a lot with Claire's video just to make sure I'm doing everything right. We want to roll out the dough that is about the same size as the butter block. So I need to roll it out a little bit widthways, and we want it to be twice as long as the butter. So I need to roll it out like there. So I think as I roll it out, the butter will get to the right temperature. And we want to use as little flour as possible. So I'm not going to use much more than this. Oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous for how this will turn out. You want to kind of just keep flipping it and making sure that it's not sticking. And we also want to keep the corners as much as possible. So you can measure it against the butter block. I need to make it a little bit more wide. I think just like that would be fine, but we want to be very precise with this. Okay, that's fine.
Your square sides. I keep kind of running my hands under it. We're looking for butter that can...
I think this might be it. I'm gonna make it just a little bit longer and make sure that the edges are like very cornered. This is it. So, as she said, we're looking for butter that can bend but not snap. You can see that it is bending and not snapping. It's at the right temperature. And we're gonna put it right in the middle. So we're gonna fold over the sides on top of the butter. We're just gonna make sure that the dough can reach, and we're gonna pinch it together and make sure that it's closed. We're gonna pinch together the sides just so that the butter is all enveloped and won't have any chance of escaping once we're rolling this out.
I found that to the sides will help.
We're gonna beat the dough to help the butter distribute, and we're still not gonna use too much flour. Kind of rotate it just to make sure it's not sticking.
Between a 1/2 and 1/4 inch thick.
So we kind of want to get this 2 feet long, which I'm not sure how long that is, but I'm gonna have it all the way to the edges here and just make sure it's not sticking. Claire says you don't want to push down on the dough, which I feel like I'm kind of doing, but you want to basically just push it outwards onto itself, not push down, because then you risk the butter melting into the dough and you won't get those beautiful layers that you're looking for. I feel like I might have just messed it up, but I hope not. We are hoping for the best. We are hoping to see all of those beautiful layers. So what's happening is that it's a little bit thinner here than it is here, and I'm gonna try to fix that, but I'm gonna go really fast. I think this is long enough. Let's do the fold. This is the first turn. So we take half of the dough, put it to the middle, and the other half to the middle as well. I can feel the butter inside. So we have both of these two folded inwards, and then we're gonna fold that another time. And this is now called the book. So this is the first turn. By now the butter is warming, the dough is warming, and we want to get it back in the fridge, but I'm just going to give it a little preliminary rollout just before, because the thinner it is, the easier it is to roll out. So just like that. I know mine is not as even as Claire's, but what are you gonna do? We put this back in the plastic wrap, and she says to freeze for 20 minutes again. Back in the freezer she goes. We are back. The dough has been in the fridge for about an hour. Let's see what we do. Do the second turn.
That's normal. That is partly because of fermentation.
Why is this low-key so stressful? Okay, it's rolling out really easily. So it's rolled out really long. I don't think it's quite as thin as Claire's is, but I'm running out of room on the counter, so...
My ends have rounded a little bit. The tension against the plastic rolling pin. Turn them off. So this is...
I've done that turn. We're gonna put it back in the plastic wrap. Repeat, freeze and fridge. So freeze for 20 minutes, fridge for an hour, and then we're going to come back to it. But I'm just gonna try to get it into as much of a square shape as possible. There we go. Okay, so the dough has been chilling for an hour in the fridge. The last step to do today, or the last step for 8 to 12 hours, is just to pre-shape the dough. So we're gonna roll it a little bit longer, a little bit flatter, just to get it ready for when we roll it out and finally shape and bake the croissant. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of getting tired of this process, but it's a process. I hope it will be worth it.
The next morning.
Okay guys, so it's the day you've all been waiting for. The croissant shaping and baking day. This is day 3 in the morning. I'm just gonna follow along with whatever Claire says in her video because I have not memorized the steps. But what we basically have to do is get a skillet full of hot water, which I just put some boiling water in here, and put it in the oven for a couple hours before the croissant bake, just so that they can proof in a warm environment, and my apartment is not so warm right now, so that will be perfect. So I'm gonna put this in the bottom of the oven, and we're gonna proof the croissant in there, and we're gonna hope for the best. This is my dough. It's been chilling overnight. It looks beautiful. I can see all of the butter pockets inside. A little bit of flour on top. So we have to roll out this dough to 17 by 14 inches. We have quite a ways to go in the rolling process. Claire made it look so easy. We're gonna need more than just a bare dusting of flour. Okay, Claire, you never said that we had to roll it out this large, but I guess I should have read the recipe. I'm just gonna keep it as rectangular as I possibly can. Okay, this issue that I'm having is with this tiny rolling pin. We could do a lot better. We're working with what we got, just like you guys will at home. I wonder if any of you guys will make this recipe and do this massive undertaking like I did. We're gonna take this as it is and do the cutting. Scary, but we got this. Honestly, we're not even going by the dimensions anymore. It's really big, but we're gonna get a pizza cutter and cut it. So I see the butter in there. It looks beautiful. I don't think it's sticking underneath. I'm going to get this tray lined with parchment paper. So I wanted to make regular croissant plus pain au chocolat. And I also want to try making almond croissant, but I don't have the ingredients for it. So for the pain au chocolat, I don't have the specially ordered chocolate sticks that you would use, that you would order from somewhere. So I just cut up some chocolate, like some dark chocolate. And hopefully that works. Before we get on with the measuring and cutting of the actual croissant pieces, I'm going to cut off the uneven edges. Just because we want an even, flaky pastry, and you're not gonna get that if it's not completely even. Making croissant is one of the most scientific, precise things that you will ever bake. Let's cut this edge. There we go. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, this is like 22 inches by 15 inches. Well, it's a little bit bigger than Claire's, but whatever. Let's look at the dimensions. Cut into 4 by 14 inch rectangles.
A right triangle? Is that what if that's slicing like a tiny final croissant?
Okay, so I'm not entirely sure that I'm doing this right at all, but let's just go for it. I've cut it into 3, like not even so even rectangles, but I think in the video she cuts it like that, but it's not gonna work if I cut it. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say F this and make up my own measurements, which could go completely wrong. I feel like this is where I'm going completely wrong and this is bad, but I'm gonna just say F it and do this. Yeah, that works, maybe, I hope. So we have 1 right triangle, 2 right triangles, and then we'll do another one. So we'll make 6 croissants. We'll do this one, this one. Oh, I'm scared. And then these ones we'll make into pain au chocs. I remember doing something like this at the gluten-free bakery that I worked at in Canada. We would measure out the croissant like this, and then the leftovers we would do pain au choc. So let's do that. So what I'm gonna do is cut a little slice in the front here, just so that we can roll it like properly. I feel like this is a little bit too thin of a croissant. I think I did something a little bit wrong with the measurements, and it looks like this.
Stick that right on the gluten.
4 to a sheet, they're going to get really big. Well, I feel like mine will not get really big, so I'm gonna put 6 on a sheet, and then the rest will fill up with pain au choc.
So I want to go,
and then we're gonna let them proof and see what happens. They are tiny compared to Claire's though, so I think I definitely did something wrong with the rolling out and the measurements. These are really big chocolates. Oh, they don't even fit. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is such a fail. Anyways, let's just pretend that it fits, and I'm gonna roll it like this. So 1 stick of chocolate in there. Maybe I'll just do 1 stick of chocolate in this one, and then these are more like taquitos that you get at 7-Eleven rather than pain au choc. That is really funny. And okay then, all right, let's make another taquito. This is so funny how this is turning out. I feel like I cared so much about it starting, but now I'm kind of giving up because I feel like this is a fail. Like, look at it, it's so funny. Let's just be very delulu for a second and hope that it works. I'm gonna cut the edges off in hopes to actually be able to see the buttery, flaky goodness. I'm gonna cut this part as well. This is our second pain au choc, which I feel like is a lot better than the first one. It's 10:15 now. I'm gonna put them in until 12:30-ish, and I will come back and let you guys in on how they're doing. So we're gonna bake this pain au choc, we'll bake a taquito or 2, and then I think we'll bake this one. She says 4 to a tray or 6 to a tray, but I'm gonna do more than that because I really feel like mine are not gonna rise, but you know, let's give it a hope. Let's hope that it does. I'm gonna do the Lotus Biscoff one here, 4 croissant right here, and they are just gonna go into the oven where I have the skillet of water already, and I'm gonna leave it for 2 hours. So I will see you guys in 2 hours and I'll give you an update, and I really hope that they will be much better than this. This is what they're currently looking like. So wish me luck. Okay guys, so it is time to take the croissant out of the oven and see if they have proofed. I checked them halfway through and they didn't look proofed. So yeah, it's been about 2 hours. I'm not gonna leave them any longer because today's Saturday and I have a lot of things to do. So I wanna get them baked now. It's the moment of truth. Let's take a look. They don't look very proofed, to be honest. Oh my goodness, they stuck. You see this? It's stuck. It's pulling the croissant. Yeah, they don't look proofed at all. I don't think they will proof very much. I wonder if it's the yeast or the temperature, but it did seem quite humid in the oven. This is what they look like. They're very like sticky. The butter didn't melt completely because I can see the specks of butter, but they don't look very great. So Claire says to put them in the fridge for about 20 minutes, but I'm not gonna put them in the fridge because they don't need to stop proofing. Basically, she says to preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'm gonna do right now, which is 190 degrees Celsius, and I'm gonna put the fan on in my oven. I feel like they're not gonna rise that much in the oven either, which is very disappointing, but I mean, I think I did good considering these are very hard to make. I'm gonna do some egg wash once the oven is ready, so I will be back in about 20 minutes when the oven is preheated. It's been a little bit. The oven is almost preheated. The croissants look exactly the same. I am going to do a little bit of a vegan egg wash. So for this egg wash, I'm using 2 tablespoons of oat milk and 1 teaspoon of agave syrup. I am not sure how it's going to work, if it will make the croissant brown, but we shall see. We shall persevere. I read online that you can use plant-based milk and maple syrup as an egg wash, but I don't have maple syrup and I feel like it would make it a lot sweeter, so I'm trying agave syrup. So you're supposed to brush this egg wash on the croissant, but I don't have a pastry brush, so I'm just gonna kind of spoon it on. This pan au choc here looks very promising. Okay, vegan egg wash is on there. Claire says to bake them for 20 minutes and then rotate the pan and bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes and see what happens, see how they look. I'll show you guys and then I'll do another 10 minutes and see how they are after 20. But because these are smaller than Claire's and they haven't risen, I'm not sure how they're going to bake, so we'll just have to see. They're gonna go in the oven now. Wish me luck. Okay, this is them after about 30 minutes total in the oven. They look done. They look crispy and flaky, but they really did not rise at all. They have a nice color to them, and I think they're on the verge of over baking, but let's see, how does the bottom look? This is the Biscoff one, so it's a bit weird, but it actually doesn't look that bad. Okay. Picking them up and moving them to this cooling rack, they're really heavy. I honestly don't think that they will have great lamination and like be really flaky and light, but I'm waiting for them to cool down a little bit so I can cut them open and do a taste test. But it's so heavy, it feels like a pound weight. Like, it's not supposed to be like this. This is how the pan au choc came out. It actually doesn't look too bad. It looks quite decent. It does look like you can see some of the layers, which is amazing, but I don't think it's ideal. I baked them for about 15 minutes and then I flipped the tray and baked them for about 10 minutes more. It was less baking time than Claire's croissant. They look good color-wise, but they don't look right. And the number one thing is that they're really heavy. And when you have heavy croissant, that means that it's not like, it doesn't have a great lamination. The butter and the dough hasn't been distributed evenly or something like that. the crispiness. Okay, I'm excited. I'm gonna cut one up and I'm gonna see how it is. Oh no. Oh no! That is so disappointing. That's what it looks like inside. That is not how it's supposed to look. This is how it's supposed to look. Not this. That is such a fail. Such a fail. So I'm not sure what made it like this. It was either the butter or the dough not being laminated properly, or the vegan butter itself. There are a few layers to it, and the outside bit is crispy, but that's just not how you want a croissant to be. Okay, now I'm gonna do a little taste test. I'm kind of hesitant to try it because it doesn't look very good, but no. It's gooey inside. It's not even flaky. It just tastes like raw dough and butter. It's not good. What a fail. Okay, I'm also going to cut open this pain au choc. Same thing. Same thing. Pain au choc is the same. No, it's just a fail. Complete fail. Yeah, I am not about to attempt this recipe again. I don't think I will ever attempt to make croissant at home, vegan, for over 24 hours again. This was an experience. It was fun, but it was a long process. And it did not turn out. It did not turn out. If any of you guys watching are pastry chefs or if you've made croissant before, let me know what you think happened to the dough. Like, did I not laminate it properly? Did I not chill it enough? Was it the butter? Was it the dough? I honestly have no clue. I guess I'll leave making croissant to actual pastry chefs and not attempt it at home. It was fun though. It was a process. And I had fun. Let me know if you guys have ever made croissant at home before, if you've made them vegan, or if you've made any other type of pastry that took multiple days to make, and how did it turn out? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this, and click that bell icon to get notified every time I post a video. I post baking, lifestyle, travel, reading, all kinds of relatable content, so you won't want to miss anything. Alright guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.